Alfie Zappacosta in Digby, Nova Scotia, playing Bear River tonight, and sitting on a cannon. How's it going, my friend?
Well, there's park benches and whatnot, but I figured be a little bit more colonial, very cool. Yeah. Everything's good.
Everything's good. So, what do you think of this scene?
Sucks.
You don't like it?
Nah. You kidding? Every chance I get to come out back out east, I do. I mean, I'm here quite a bit.
Okay.
I've, over the years now, a lot of friends from Yarmouth, and I remember doing, performing in Clare, which I was very surprised that you remember, but you're from Clare.
Yeah, of course.
And back and forth across over all these years, I love coming back. I love to come back.
Your career has seen lots of change throughout the years, and you're still playing strong and playing continuously gigs. I imagine summer, winter also. Yeah. So you're playing how many shows a year roughly nowadays?
That's a good question. I try to get maybe let's say on an average throughout the year, maybe 2 or 3, 4 months, something like that. But how it works out is if I'm coming out this way, within that month period, I'll try to put in about 15 dates if I can get 7 to 8 dates or whatever. But I try to bridge it across Canada. So if I'm going to be in the Vancouver area, then of course I call ahead and get everything done. And same thing, the prairies, and as I go to Toronto and out here. Yeah. And of course, a lot of these days I do a lot of my own booking. I mean, it would be nice to have someone taking it over for me, but it's a different world. It's a different world, and with the social media and stuff, and we were just talking about that, it's been a little bit difficult in getting people that are of my demographics to sort of get a little bit hipper to social media, to be able to talk about Facebook and Twitters, and I don't even care so much about the Twitter, the Instagrams, whatnot, all these new tools to be able to get to the people. But I'm finding it worthwhile. It's working, but obviously because I've been around for so many years, I'd mentioned, and I have about 45 years performing. I've met a lot of people that I can actually get on the phone and call and say I'm coming into town. Okay. And I don't really, and I've been telling a lot of the folks in the audiences that I've been playing with, I don't really care if it's I don't care for big rooms and whatnot. Obviously we're not working for free, but it's at the same time in knowing that when we get to these places, there's 100 people, 115 people, 70 to 80 to 150 people. To me, that's comfortable. I could sort of work it out throughout, though I could travel and be able to perform for people a lot more intimately, and I still get a lot out of it because the music has definitely changed for me.
Of course, up close, intimate, personal type concerts, isn't that the type of best concert an audience could witness, instead of being at a stadium level that you don't never get to touch the artist in a sense?
There's definitely the godlike idol thing.
What's your thoughts on that?
Well, you see, this is not sour grapes. This is not something I never aspired to that. I don't care about the distancing of the godlike and the idol worship kind of thing. I always feel embarrassed about that kind of stuff. So even from day one when it was going, it was very difficult for me because I'd get embarrassed. I don't know, it's probably stupid, but it would embarrass me. And
let's say for being a godlike figure, let's say a legend, that you're untouchable. Mm-hmm. When you're brought to this level of intimacy that people get to see you and actually have an autograph, take a photo perhaps,
say hello, I have no problem with being able to be seen as I am, as far as I really did not aspire to that huge cut. It's a very difficult position to be in unless your head is there and that you love that adoration and whatnot. Right. I was a little embarrassed about it. I never felt really comfortable around that, and it's not because I could have, but I didn't. I could have gone and did an awful lot of touring in the 80s in the beginning when it was all going, but I didn't. I had my family, I had my children and stuff, and I wanted to be able to do what I was doing. I still wanted to be in this business, but if you remember back then, radio and record companies and the type of music you were playing, be it FM or whatnot, they would get you do a record and they put you on tour with the same like bands and stuff. It was very difficult. If you're doing a rock and roll thing, your chances of going and hooking up with Journey, ZZ Top, if it was a rock thing, was very easy for them. The kind of music, if I was going to do something like, I probably would have had to go to Europe to be able to do something a la Genesis. I'm not saying that's the kind of music that I do, but it was at least a little off kilter. It was a little oddball. So I'm sure there's a lot of people I could have done that, but I love Canada. I didn't want to leave. So what I do here, as you'd mentioned before, yes, to have smaller audiences, for me to be able to play and still know that what I do for a living is to entertain. I write my music as I see fit. I perform it as I see fit. And every now and then, when it allows, budgets allow, I have the band, so I get to be able to perform with great players. At this point in my life, there's many people to pull from. There's Silvio Pupo, who works for me in this part of the world, who's just a tremendous keyboard player. He's from Cuba, but has been here for many years. I have people in Toronto that I work with. I have people in Vancouver I work with. I have people like in Edmonton. Right. So I get to work with many people, and as long as I get myself here, you're right. For me, the idea of a smaller audience works. I would love, soft seaters, maybe no more than 150, 200 people would be fine by me.
Yeah, I find you're very humble, and that brings a lot to music, and it spreads. And life gets better like that, would you say? I have to,
I have to be, I suppose, a full, rich life and stuff, so to be at least honest with yourself and to be able to find a place in it where you feel at peace and where you feel happy, where you feel good. Anything more than that would be sort of like a bit of a lie, and that's an awful lot of work to maintain. To maintain something, a facade that just isn't true, is a lot of work. So if I can get through what I'm doing and just in being myself, and it is what you see is what you get. There's no more than that. But if that would grow, and I'm in a point in time where my children have grown up. I am a grandfather. They're all settled. Everybody is good. So now what will I do? I'll keep going out there and singing until I drop. Like he's down. But if I keep doing what I'm doing, if I thought that I could take a chunk of 3 months and put a lot of dates in there, I will do so.
It's like that. It keeps the living going.
It keeps the living going. Of course, we're at a point in time that the government's going to start paying the old timers like me. I'm 65 years old now. I want to say 65 young, or however they want to say it. Age is just a thing. Blah 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 blah. Whatever the hell it is, it doesn't matter. We're at a point in time that I should be happy. I should be enjoying myself, and I'm very proud when I can actually go out there and have people sort of like, well, that was beautiful, that was wonderful, to maintain your job, stay healthy, do all the right things. Yeah, be happy. It's a good, whoever thought you can be happy.
Happiness is a great thing.
Yeah, I think so. Boy, this is really caca, This is good.
You've been releasing lots of albums throughout the years and writing songs. Where do you see making albums now? Because now it's more Spotify, YouTube, promo videos. They release albums on YouTube now. What's your take on making an album? It costs money, obviously.
And giving it away.
And then you're giving it away for free, but then you're making maybe AdSense revenue, let's say, or some sort of advertisement money. Now, do you foresee more albums in the future in a world like this?
I wish I could say exactly. I've been. I suppose I'd probably sit down and ask a few more questions, find out. I just did another record, and it's a live record that I'll be putting out very, very soon, probably within the next month. But I've been trying to sort of really figure it out. It does seem like, what you do is you just record the record, put it out there, and like you were saying, spend the money to be able to get it done, obviously, and then get it out, and like you're saying, Spotify, YouTube, streaming. And I don't really know how it works, except that seems to me that people like the Beyoncés of the world, the Jay-Z and whatnot, and I don't know, there's people go very, very specific, so depending on their age and whatnot, they seem to know how to promote a certain part of it, because I can go through this whole world right now not knowing where to go on my on Facebook or where to go on my, to be able to find out what music to listen to. Do I go on to Sirius and then if I'm in a restaurant, listen to what music is playing. A lot of people play the oldies and whatnot, but to be able to find out who's got the pulse on what's new these days, it's so individualistic. I mean,
depends on who's in power.
You are the one in power of your own domain at this point in time. You do something and you attract people to come to it, to be able to make it so very individualistic at this point. It seems to me. I'll go out there and continue. Like I was saying, the demographics where I am is very difficult because people have a little bit of a hard time, the witchcraft of Facebook and getting in and social media, but making themselves too exposed. So it's a little bit of a rock and a hard spot, quite the conundrum. But I find that the way it works for me is, as long as I stay healthy, I can go out and perform. The way the world is right now and how the music industry is so completely different, than I can't sit there and say it doesn't exist and it's shitty and it's all caca and stuff like that. I just imagine of educating oneself, and I'm trying to educate myself as much as possible, but I think in what we're doing, and you can see how individual this is.
Yeah.
I go to your people, we talk to our people, we amass people that come to us. We don't have the machine anymore that has all the promotion and stuff that's already bought the radio stations to know that everybody's going to listen to across Canada those stations. We are now in a situation to be able to run our own lives. We find our own people, and probably not like business. You start a small painting company and you build the sucker up until you're doing quite well. Yeah. I figured that that's pretty much where the world is right now. If I'm wrong, please tell me different, but because I'm willing to listen. But I'll put out this record. It's this next one that I did is with a string section, 4-piece string section. So always stripped down. I don't need to go backwards. I'm just moving ahead.
Okay.
I could, like I said, I could put the band together and it'll smoke, or I could do it myself, or I could do it with a trio, or whatever's necessary.
Yeah.
Constantly experimenting.
Keeping healthy.
Yes.
Looking good for your age now.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
From the album covers of the 1984s to now.
I look exactly the same. Isn't that amazing?
You can still identify that's you.
Well, I know they can see it's still me. Yes, it is still me. I suppose that's quite the accomplishment. I walk a lot. Me and my dog, we go walking. I mean, as far as staying healthy and stuff, I don't drink. I don't do anything because I had enough through my career to be able to stand a horse. That was that whole idea of. That was the whole idea back then of the drinking and a lot of the things that I carried on with. Again, is that because of that anxiousness and feeling that I didn't belong doing that. So I never felt comfortable. So I would drink for the anxiety reasons. And of course, when it was time to be able to say, when I felt, I don't need this, and well, everything changed. And so we try to stay healthy only because it's happy, I'm having a good time. There's a lot of things that just aren't necessary.
There's too many shows to do yet.
There's many, many, many shows to do, many places to go see, many cannons to sit on.
That'd be true. So, you enjoying the summer, obviously, and still touring, like there's no tomorrow, and
Absolutely. Checking all these wineries in New Brunswick here in Nova Scotia, from these little places nobody's ever seen. I mean, I know Canada. I've been, and I'll never leave. I mean, how anybody would want to be anywhere else is beyond me. And I talk about it on stage quite a bit, just to be able to say, if you're cold, if you're not happy in the winter, take off for a couple of weeks, go visit someplace.
Yeah.
But there's no better place in the world than Canada to live.
Yeah.
There just isn't. Go visit other places, but always come home.
That's true. Alfie Zappacosta in the 80s. Welcome to Nova Scotia once again, because you do have a career in Nova Scotia. Because you've been playing here quite a bit.
I do, and I love it, and I love you all. And that's not just I'm not telling you where to come and see me. I'm just telling you that I love it here. I love Canada. I love the East Coast. I love everything about it. And if you find yourself anywhere nearby, you hear I'm around.
Yeah.
Come, I promise I'll sing my ass off.
Come see the great Alfie Zappacosta. Thank you very much.
All right, Jason.
And wish you luck and success in every domain of the life.
I appreciate it.
You're
All
very
right, thanks
welcome.
for
Thank
taking
you.
the time, man. Thank you for
You're very welcome.